Hello everybody, Horst here again, bringing you another interesting game, or at least I thought it was interesting, between myself and a guy named Uncle Leo. He is actually only around 800 masters, but that's because he has a Taiwan account he played on before this. I talked to him a little bit after game. This is his second account. He only has like 50 games in masters, so it would be a little odd for him to play this well unless he was smurfing it up. The volume appears to be a little high. 1 second. Boom. There we go. Much better. But I thought this was a pretty interesting game because a lot of times I have problems when Zerg go 14 hatch, and I don't want to be overly aggressive against them. So I'm trying to work with a strategy that might allow me to still be on top of things macro-wise, but not quite as risky as the 15 Nexus. So I'm going to do a 1-gate fast expand. We'll see how that works out. I just scout around the Zerg. I notice he has the hatch, and he has nothing in his main yet, so he's going for a 14 hatch. So I will go for what looks like a 3-gate expand so far, or it could be anything at this point. All Protoss builds look the same right up until you throw down a certain number of gateways, be it 4 or 3. Or actually, the second gas is a pretty big tell. If you look from the Zerg's perspective at this point, he sees I'm not getting the second gas yet, so this very well could be me 4-gating him, which would be something he would expect, actually, considering he went for a 14 hatch. He very well could expect 4-gate, and it would make a lot of sense. A lot of Protoss players would do it. So he's probably going to have to build a couple more units than he normally would. Instead, I'm going to make 1 Zealot and 1 Stalker, put them down at the bottom of my ramp with a pylon, so that in case he goes for a mass link counterattack, I have a nice little wall in right here so you can't surround me. He's probably going to have to make a Spine Crawler, a couple of Zerglings, like he is right now. Check production. You can see he's making 1 Crawler and 8 Zerglings because he thinks a 4-gate very well could be coming because of the no second gas. But he doesn't know that I am just fast expanding. He will figure it out eventually. He'll send some lings over to just double check to see what I'm doing. So what I did in this game was I got the forge up, I got the gateway up, then I got a forge up, my nexus, and I'm going to build 1 cannon and a little crook right here. After I got the forge up, I threw down 2 more gateways, so I'll have 3 gates. And my expansion is actually up and running at this point, around the same time it would be starting from a 3-gate expand. So it's definitely a lot more macro efficient. And it felt pretty safe in this, so I'll probably be doing this a lot more often. It felt good. You can see the Zerg is responding by taking another base. Over here, I actually would expect the Zerg to do that, so I'm going to respond. I don't actually know he's doing it, but I'm going to open with a 6-gate, because it's just a really strong opening. If he's going for Mutalisks, this will outright kill him. If he's going for Roaches, this will put some pressure on him, force him to make more Roaches than he probably would want to. It'll just be a strong opening overall. I do like the 6-gate opening a lot. I know a lot of Protoss players like TT1 favor it as well. Going for a nice probe saturation right now. Actually, if I wanted to go for an all-in 6-gate, I'd cut probes right now, but I'm not going for all-in at this point in the game. And get the +1 weapons going as soon as possible. Now he sees the 6-gate, so he's going to produce Roaches. He's got the Warren going down. He'll start making Roaches as soon as he possibly can. But it's about time for me to move out. I have a decent force here. He won't be able to overrun me here with enough force fields. Get a proxy pylon down in the middle so I can warp in reinforcements. And away we go. His Roaches are starting to pop out now, so I'm probably not going to be able to do anything with this. As long as I force him to make a bunch of Roaches and not really saturate his third, that's all I really want to do. I mean, I don't really expect to kill him with this. I killed off a Spine Crawler, a couple of Zerglings, forced a lot of Roaches to be made, and I'll just back off at this point. And because I was concentrating on macro or micro during that battle, I let my money kind of stockpile. So a great way to spend it is going to be to expand, get my gas and my natural, throw down 3 more gateways. I'm going for a much heavier gateway composition than a lot of Protoss. A lot of Protoss like to go for the fast Colossus, things like that. No, I think I'm going to stick with low-tech units here. Just masses of them. I mean, if you can equal the number of Roaches with the number of Stalkers, you're going to win. Of course, Stalkers are more expensive, but you'll still win if you have equal numbers. So we'll just see how that works out. Well, obviously it works out well because I'm showing you guys this, but an equally valid strategy I would say would be to go for faster double Robo and Colossus tech at this point while you're taking your third. But I do want to experiment with new styles, and one of those new styles would be mass gateway units. Check the income tab, you can see that I am actually ahead in harvester count after I forced so many roaches. I'm actually equal now that he just popped a bunch more. And he will see I'm expanding. Going for a Twilight Council so I can get +2 weapons as soon as that armor is done. +2 weapons very important for an army like this, especially when you're going so heavy on so many units. And he's going for Hydras, which is a great choice in this case. Now, because I'm going for a Colossus-less build, I'm going to need Templar, both dark and high. I actually believe I go for Dark Templar first in this game. The Dark Templar is amazing in this matchup because the Zerg can't afford to have overlords everywhere, and if you put them at expansions he's planning on taking, it'll really force him to delay his expansions. While he gets an overlord out there to pick off your DTs. Very powerful. And of course Blink, when you're dealing with this many Stalkers. Mass Blink Stalkers is actually extremely powerful in this matchup. It's pretty underrated in my opinion though. But here he's moving out with a fairly scary attack force, considering I don't have any high-tech units. This is all just gateway units. But I do have a lot of sentries, so I can probably make some good use of force fields. We'll have to back off to get him at a choke point, like right around here would be a decent place to engage. Just drag him back in. And he has a lot of guys running around like idiots back there. My units are able to do a decent amount of damage. Force fields are starting to wear off though, so we'll back up here, drag a couple of his units off to attack the cannon while I deal with a smaller part of his army at once. He'll regroup and come back in, but I can warp in units behind him while he does that from these pylons. I'll warp in a couple of zealots back there to flank. And I'll be able to just mow through his army without much difficulty. Now he is making a lot of roach at this point to come back at me, but I have plenty of Stalkers left, and I'm starting to make immortals from my robotics base, so I don't really think mass roach is going to be too threatening to me. Again, after any major expansion, I do like to, after any major attack where I come out ahead, I do like to expand. And because I'm going so heavy on the gateway units, I'm going to get Zealot Charge as well. Really delaying my Templar tech, any high-tech units, just to get a lot of these gateway units out with decent upgrades. +2 weapons, almost done. Chrono boosting liberally. Get Immortals out. Now here my observer can see he is expanding at the same time as me, a little bit sooner, so I know I'm pretty much equal to him in macro. He's going for Aspire blindly because he assumes I'm going for Colossus. I really doubt he's going for Mutalisk at this point in the game because late game Muta switches just leave you so open to be killed. I mean, if you make 30 Mutas and just hatch them all at once, and when your opponent is maxed, all he has to do is attack your main base, and he's just going to roll right over you. You'll pull your Mutas back to attack. Your Mutas won't have enough upgrades, and his basic units will just eat you alive. The Mutas are really only good very mid-game. They're mostly a mid-game unit. If you go too early on the Mutas, you will lose them all to a 6 gate. If you go too late in the Mutas, you'll have not enough to deal with them. But I am going High Templar and Dark Templar at the same time. Warping in a proxy pylon up here. I'm going to try to kill this hatchery, maybe this hatchery, with Dark Templar while researching Psionic Storm to deal with his mass Hydras. Pretty good choice, I thought. I'm going to start +3 tech as soon as I can. I should be starting that now, but I am delaying a little bit. Money's getting a little high. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm doing something. I have a good reason, I'm sure. And his observer, or his overseer, I believe, did see that Dark Shrine. He might not have actually known what it was, though. But we'll warp in some Dark Templar up here and go slice this hatchery apart. These 5 Dark Templar will make short work of anything, pretty much. Just carve right through drones. This late, actually mid-game Dark Templar switch, is still mid-game at 17 minutes, is extremely powerful. I see a lot of pros doing it. Minigun does it a lot. And he's quite good, so I figure if it's good enough for Minigun, it's good enough for me. And we'll just do as much damage as we can. And our observer catches him expanding to the gold. Like hell, we're going to allow that. We'll just go kill that with a couple of Dark Templar as well. And just vaporize that. Of course, his army is coming up, so we'll assassinate a queen and then run away. We killed the queen. I shut down 2 of his hatcheries, though, which is quite good, while getting Storm out. And now I have plenty of Dark Templar, plenty of gateway units. I can just fall back. I'm actually on more bases than the Zerg. At this point, his only real option to even the game up is to attack me. And my army is pretty fearsome right now, with a lot of Dark Templar, a couple of High Templar, some pretty upgraded gateway units. It's not going to be something he can just roll through without any difficulty. But here comes the attack. He does have 2 attack on his units, which is pretty good. And he didn't make any blind corruptors like I was hoping he would. I was hoping he would go for blind corruptors. A lot of times Zerg do that. But here we go. One of my goals in this battle will be to snipe these overseers so my Dark Templar can live long enough to do some serious damage. The Immortals are going to do a great job against these front roaches as well. I only have 1 storm, but I make the most of it, hitting all of his hydras. And I managed to snipe out both of his overseers, my Dark Templar. I only have 3 left, but 3 is a lot of Dark Templar when they're doing 55 damage a swing. And I just mow right through this army with my small high-tech army. Actually, my large high-tech army. I didn't lose a lot of my army, but I do have 9 gateways here. And I'm going to warp in a lot more gateways here so I can replenish my army quickly. Because I am on so many bases, I have plenty of resources to do this with. So we'll just warp in some more Templar, rally up to my proxy pylon up here, warp in reinforcements over here, and we'll push through the Zerg to take the 3rd out, take the natural out, take the main out, and just kill the Zerg. Now this does leave me wide open for counterattacks into my main, so I'll throw down a couple of photon cannons. Hopefully that'll be enough to stop him. It might not be. If not, we'll have to rely on warped in Dark and High Templar. Dark Templar are extremely powerful to warp in against the Zerg, especially when he doesn't bring overseers with his army, which a lot of times they don't. They do neglect them. Now he's going to see my army moving up here, and he's going to decide to go for a base trade. Unfortunately, his army is much smaller than mine, so he'll probably be able to snipe out a few of my Nexuses, Nexi, whatever the hell you want to call them, making a lot of roaches. I have a couple of cannons he'll have to work through. It's probably not going to be enough to stop him. But I do foresee myself losing at least 2 or 3 of my Nexus. He'll kill this one. He'll kill this one. My army is too far out of position right now to deal with this. Unfortunately, +3 didn't finish. Warping in High Templar up here to storm him as he walks through. And the Dark Templar deal with him on the low ground. He does not have any overseers, so eventually I will be able to kill him with this. There's 1 Nexus going down. And it'll kill my Templar Archive, so no more Templar. He did not get my Dark Shrine, though, so I'll have more Dark Templar coming in. He'll have to go through these Photon Cannons as well, but there's 2 Nexus down. At this point, I have no choice but to kill him. I have to win the game now, otherwise I will not be coming back from this. Fortunately, because his entire army is over here, he will offer no resistance. I do believe my army is overall superior to his if you add up all of his component parts, so I don't really think that I have to worry too much about a base trade. If we kill each other's mains, I believe I can still win, so I'm not too worried about this. I have plenty of Immortals, lots of High Templars, and a lot of Dark Templars, so there's no real problem. And these Dark Templar cornered the roaches here. Finally, his army is going to die after taking out 3 of my Nexuses, but I still have 1 mining base and 1 distance mining, so it's okay. Plenty of Psionic Storms to go down, and just boil through the Zerg army. And boom goes the dynamite. But this all started from that 1-gate fast expand, which I think is one of the better responses that you can possibly do to the Zerg 14 hatch. Much better, in my opinion, than the 4-gate, because it's pretty all-in. This, however, is not all-in, obviously. This is a very open-ended strategy. You can go anything with it. You go high-tech units after you 1-gate fast expand. You could go low-tech like I did. You go high-tech into low-tech. I've seen people do that with a couple of Void Rays into mass Stalkers and Zealots. All pretty good options. The Zerg is, for some reason, trying to expand up here. I'm not sure what his reasoning is. Maybe he thinks he still has a chance of winning this game. He is sadly deluding himself and wasting my time. But that's okay. I don't mind. And I also have a huge conga line of 12 Dark Templar running towards his base. Dark Templar are amazing if you can use them in mass, which you normally can't, but if you can, they are amazing. Thanks for watching, guys.